moment of stillness before we get into some movement. Sitting up nice and tall, legs crossed, hands on knees. Breathing in and out through your nose. And just a moment to reflect that there's all these bodies, individual bodies that we can see on our little squares on our screen. And they're in different parts of the world. And we're all sitting and taking the same slow, steady breath. And so this sense of individual can slightly dissolve as we recognize collective. And the idea of individual is an illusion anyway, we know that. We are collective. We co-regulate. We influence one another. We ride the same cultural tides as one another. And at times that can feel like quite a comfort if you've had time on your own. Just to remember that it's impossible to be alone. And let's start to circle the head with your breath. And then changing direction. And coming up to center, circling shoulders. And then circling elbows. Do you know that I always sneeze like this in the morning and then by lunchtime I've stopped? It's just a morning thing. Very strange. Just excuse me while I blow my nose. And then take full arm extensions. And then bringing your hands down onto your knees and circling your heart. So our theme for the yoga this week is the heart and the back. And changing direction. And listening out for your breath as you circle. Allowing the breath to weave itself into the movement so they're not separate. And coming to center, hands on knees. As you exhale, drop your heart back, bring your chin down to your chest. And as you inhale, bring your heart forwards, lifting your gaze. Moving like that. And then going up to center and having a little wriggle from side to side. Bring your hands around to the right. Inhale as you sit up. And exhale as you rotate over to the right. And maybe just take your hands away and see if you can stay in that rotation. And then place the hands back down and see if you can come a little deeper. And then inhaling as you come back to the front, bringing the right hand across, turning to the left. Inhale as you sit up, exhale as you rotate. Lift the hands away, see if you can hold that rotation, and then drop the hands back down and see if you can go deeper. Coming back to center. Take your hands behind you, fingers pointing towards sitting bones. Soften the elbows, roll the shoulders back and look up, breathing into the front of your heart. I find it quite nice to have a wriggle here. Some people might want to drop their head back as well. And then coming back up to center. Hands down at your side. And let's walk the right hand away. And keep the left hip pressing down. Inhale as you reach the left arm up. Get as much height through that top hand as you can. Take your awareness to your collarbones. Make space for your throat and your collar. So nothing is collapsing, everything is expanding. And then keep that sense of expansion as that top arm can come over and maybe be draped over your head, or maybe it stays like a ballet dancer. You can find the place that works for you. And then bring your awareness to the bottom hand, push down, and get a little bit of extra height through the ribcage. And then looking down at your right knee, drop that top hand down, so it's your hands are either side of the knee. Inhale as you look forwards, and as you exhale, fold over your right thigh. And trying to keep both sitting bones down on the floor if you can. Inhale as you come back up. And bring both hands either side of you. And perhaps you can feel a difference from one side to the other. Left hand walks away. Right hip stays grounded. Inhale as you reach the right arm up. And create length and space across the collar. And then as you exhale, drape that top arm overhead. Pressing down through the bottom hand to keep height in the ribcage. How aware are you of your breath here? And then looking down at your left knee, bring your right hand down. Inhale as you look ahead, and as you exhale, fold over the left thigh. Keeping the right sitting bone down. Excuse me, blowing my nose again. And then inhale as you come back up. And we're going to come and lie down on our backs. We'll do some hip rolling. So lie down on your back with your knees bent. And then very subtle movement. As you exhale, you're going to tip your hips so that your tailbone goes down towards the earth. And notice how your spine arches. And then reverse. And take the lower back to the floor. And let your tailbone lift. So you'll actually find you're in rhythm with your breath. One movement will be an inhale. And then the reverse movement will be the exhale. It's quite a subtle movement. It's slow and gentle, and bring all of your awareness to the pelvis and see how it feels to move it. Is it silky smooth, or does it feel a bit juddery? And then bringing your arms down to your side, come to neutral. Rest for a moment. And then get your fingertips to brush against the backs of your heels. You might need to walk your shoulder blades beneath you just a little. Inhale. And as you exhale, push your knees away and let your hips rise. We're going to come up and pause here for some breaths. Let the elbows bend, palms face one another. And see if you can walk your upper arms a little closer, chin moving towards chest. And then lowering yourself slowly back down. And drawing your hips, your knees in towards your chest. And then keep your hands on your knees as you take some slow, steady circles. And giving a lovely massage to the lower back and the sacrum. And then changing direction. Coming back to centre. As the knees are up here, it seems silly not to add a twist. So let's take our arms into cactus. If cactus doesn't feel accessible to your shoulders, then just bring your arms out to the side. For some people, bending the elbows into cactus can feel a bit too much. And then slowly take the knees over to the right, turning your gaze to the left. How much the spine loves that twist. And as always, there's no need to take the first shape that you sort of land in. You can wriggle and adjust and explore for yourself what your body wants you to do here that will best nourish and resource it. Inhale as the knees come back up. Exhaling over to the left, gazing to the right. Inhaling as you come back to centre. Bring your hands around the back of your thighs and take a couple of rocks forwards and back, as long as your spine's okay with that. Some people have very spindly spines. It can be a bit uncomfortable. So if yours is one of those, then don't do this. No? Let's do one more. And as we're here, it feels like natural to go into Navasana, because everybody loves Navasana. So let's bring the toes down to the floor, have the heels off the floor. We'll start with hands behind, fingers pointing towards sitting bones. Bend the elbows, roll the shoulders away from the ears, and lift the chest. This is our starting pose. We're just trying to get as much height as we can through the heart, and draw in the lower belly. And then once you've got the lower belly drawn in, see if you can bring the shins up parallel to the floor. And the knees are together, ankles are together, and take some breaths. So sometimes the tummy just wants to stick out here, so just be really aware that you're still drawing in and up. And then gently drop the toes down. And this time you're going to bring the arms up either side of your legs. You can always keep your hands back if you'd rather. It is early in the morning after all. And raise the shins. And we have all different levels of mobility and core strength here. So for those of you who want to make it stronger, push the knees away. And that is a stronger version. Bring the knees in to make it an easier version. Bringing your hands behind your thighs makes it a really lovely version, but probably not that strong on your core. So you'll find your place, your tone for today. And then dropping the feet down. Have the feet apart, knees bent, hands can come behind you again. We're going to drop the knees to the right, turn your gaze to the left. Inhale as the knees come up. Exhale over to the left, gazing to the right. Going from side to side. So if we're doing a back practice, then core has to be part of it, because the front of the back is the core. Well done. And coming back up again, we're going to repeat a third time. So choose your tone, choose your version. Be sure that you are still breathing, Ujjayi breath. And that the lower belly is scooping in, keeping that lift, so you're not slumping in any way, there's a lift happening. And bringing the feet down to the floor again, hands behind you. This time we're going to come up into table. So pressing down through feet and hands, lifting hips and heart, looking up towards the ceiling. And then lowering yourself back down. Let's go one more time. Arms up, legs up. Hear the sound of your breath. Bring the soles of the feet together, knees dropping out to the side. Wrap your hands around your toes and just do a little bit of rocking from side to side. So we come into Baddha Konasana, also known as butterfly pose. And then come to center and just bounce the knees. Inhale as you lift up through the heart, and as you exhale, roll forwards, chin drops to chest, crown of head moves in the direction of your toes. And breathe. A great opportunity to breathe into the back of your heart and to see what movement you can bring between your shoulder blades. Bring your baby down. Hi. Inhale as you come back up. Let the heels slide a little further forward. Bring your hands to your knees. Inhale, and as you exhale, fold, bringing your hands to your toes. And coming back up, we're going to come up onto our sitting on our knees. And we'll tuck our toes under, give ourselves some fire toes to warm up our feet. So all 10 toes tucked beneath you as you sit back on your heels. Hands can always be on the floor if your plantar fascia is extremely tight and this doesn't feel helpful. And then inhale as you come back up onto your knees. Bring your hands to your waist, roll your shoulders back, draw your elbows back towards one another. Press the hips forwards and lift the heart as you look up. And then from here, inhale, reach your arms up. And as you exhale, bring your hands down to the floor so you're coming into cat. Play a little bit with cat and cow. And see if you can start to circle your tailbone, your hips. So the movement in the spine is less kind of linear and more sort of an emerging response. And then turn the tailbone the other way. And then tap the tops of the toes on the floor. Walk your hands a little further forward and we'll melt our hearts to the ground, either resting chin or forehead onto the floor. Keep pressing down through the hands and breathing. And then inhale as you come back up onto all fours. Tuck your toes under. Reach your arms up overhead as you stand up on your knees. And we can take a little bit of pigeon here, but pigeon is extremely strong and it's no different in fact to when we were lying down in supported bridge pose. Same pose, just with a different bit of gravitational pull. Bring your hands to the small of your back. Know where your limits are. Roll your shoulders away from your ears, lift your heart. And maybe just pressing the hips forward. Perhaps this is enough for you today, this morning. You're certainly not trying to go into any area where you feel you have to hold your breath. You might slide your hands down the backs of your thighs, make it a little bit more intense. And you might bring your hands to your heels. If you do, then press your hips forwards and look up. Still breathing a nice steady breath. Inhale as you come up. And exhale as you flatten your feet, sit back on your heels and draw your arms out in front of you. Returning onto all fours for some cat and cow. Tuck the toes under, push the hands away and come into a down dog. Heels working their way towards the floor, a little bit of pedaling. See, if you push your hands into the mat, can you let your heart move towards your thighs? Lifting your gaze, let's slide our right knees forward and come into a pigeon pose. If you've got a cushion handy, then just lay that cushion under your right hip. It does make it a really lovely version of pigeon pose. And your left leg can walk away a little bit. Inhale as you sit up. And exhale as you fold forwards. And then inhaling as you come back up. Press down through your hands, returning to down dog. Tuck the toes under, lift the hips high. See if the heels can drop a little closer to the floor. And then looking forward to bringing the left knee ahead of you as we take pigeon on the other side for our final pose. Inhale as you sit up and exhale as you fold.